Berlin is the ultimate setting for a Cold War spy story because of its very unique makeup. No other city in the world was divided in the way that Berlin was.
The rules of that town were so different from anywhere else in the espionage game. Whether it's the CIA, whether it's MI6 in Britain, or whether it's the French, all crowded into one tiny little location.
Everybody is at risk when the wall comes down. The agents on the ground, they're operating on their own because there is a real need to protect themselves. You never know who is working for who in this film.
Let me help you with your bags. Welcome to Berlin.
Fuck's sake.
Shouts out their protests through tear gas.
Atomic Blonde is sort of like a mashup of historical fiction and real history.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Berlin was its own little bubble, its own little enclave, full of spies, full of government bureaucrats.
It's such a kind of Wild West kind of town. There's drugs everywhere and contraband. It's a place where people consume.
Because everything was from the West was so secret. They couldn't listen to Western music and they couldn't wear Western clothes. Whatever you can't do or whatever you can't have is immediately going to be way more appealing.
In a place like that, people like Percival become like a little king rat.
Es ist offen!
Operatives in Berlin get the job done in what is a very different environment. Everybody sort of knows each other. It's almost like you go drinking with your worst enemy, and you probably sleep with the same people.
It takes place at a time of warmth and color. It indicates the sort of vibrant artistic direction that the city was going about.
As a baby of the 80s, I wanted to make a film that was like the wish fulfillment of the 80s, and there's no city that's more appropriate to do that in Berlin. No one could express Berlin better than somebody who lives there and knows it and understands it. And David Schoeneman is the perfect partner of helping design this world and keeping it authentic.
One of the first discussions we had on this was where to shoot the movie. We talked about Budapest as an excellent replacement for Berlin at that time.
The truth is that parts of Budapest today look more like Berlin in 1989 than Berlin does today.
You find excellent texture, and with that, it's a lot more cinematic. The wall is pretty much the symbol of the division between the Western and the Eastern world. So all our wall sets were quite important.
It's pretty amazing how much you can do practically. We built the no man's land, and we contracted a couple local graffiti artists. It'll be all practical, old school filmmaking, which is cool.
It's extremely important with all the sets and the interiors to bring the roughness and the authenticity of Berlin to life.
It's really cold in Berlin, and it's a nice contrast to see those colors. It indicates change of the revolution.
It was about setting a palette and very much wanting to do a very vibrant, colorful world of '89 Berlin.
Atmosphere is a big part of any Cold War spy thriller, I think, and especially this movie. So much of it relies on getting across the feeling of Berlin in the late 80s.
1989 was a bananas time, and while reading the script, you don't think about that. It's got a sauce to it that is just really, really, really unique and special.
It really is not your grandfather's spy thriller.
I'll tell you one thing, and one thing only. I love Berlin!